Welcome to the Your Family Dog podcast, where we celebrate the special bond between families and their canine companions. Our goal is to help families and dogs grow up together, one episode at a time. Welcome back to the Your Family Dog podcast. Today, we're joined again by Kathy Callahan, author of Welcoming Your Puppy from Planet Dog, How to Go Beyond Training and Raise Your Best Friend. And this is a book that I think is going to really change how the world raises and lives with puppies. Kathy, you are a breath of fresh air on this Friday morning, and I am so excited to see your smart, pretty self again. So thank you
I'm so happy
much.
to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to chatting with you again.
So the dog world can be a pretty dogmatic world, right? Like there's lots of big personalities, there's lots of big ideas, and that's all great. But I do think that there's like this club that's slowly joining up together that have a similar mindset. And we're going to shove the world around a little bit, right? And
Right.
help dogs and kids and mamas and daddies and grandmas just be way happier and more spectacularly comfortable together.
That's right. Way happier and also be a little bit more empowered. You know, without all that dogmatic stuff, you must do it this way. It has to be this way, which adds so much stress to your life with a dog. What we'd like to do is help empower you to hang out with this other soul, create this, cross species friendship without all those rules in your head that are stressing you out, without all those, it's got to be this way, otherwise you should be embarrassed. We want you to be able to help take a breath, sit back, get to know this other soul that you've brought into your house and understand them, which is fascinating, and let go of all the shoulds and it's got to look this way to give you a chance to develop this friendship and get to know this lovely little being who's going to be part of your family.
Well, and yes, to all the things, right? I have a veterinary friend a dear friend, who once said to me, "I love you enough to not let you should all over yourself."
Oh,
And I was like, "Oh, I'm stealing that." I'm like, "That is
that's
now mine."
so good. That's so good because what part of what I do when I'm first working with puppy people is trying to lift that pressure of should that is all over them. You know, they're like, this time I'm going to do it right. This time, my neighbor told me I got to do. Oh, a huge part of my job, which is absurd, is helping people get rid of other voices and just settle in with what's really happening in their household because they're gonna have way better results. True, if it's all about results, they're gonna have way better results if they actually get rid of the shoulds. But what I'm seeking is more joy for you all.
Right, and more acceptance of who we are and our sensitivities and triggers, and recognizing that that's gonna be true with every single member of the household, every child, every
Yeah,
non-human, every human. We're all going to have stuff. There's just going to be some stuff. And often that stuff makes the magic, right? That's
that's
where that,
because it's your unique thing that's happening in your family. And you're like, oh, this is who we are. And that can be such a delight. And one of the things that I think is fun with working with puppy families is that sometimes you can see that when you bring that empathetic lens to the puppy raising, you can see it extending into how parents are dealing with their teenagers too. If you start those conversations like, I see that you don't love what the puppy's doing there. What do we think why is the puppy doing that? Why is he thinking that?
right.
Because if you start thinking that way, you're going to get to solutions so much faster than if you're just have this stable vision in your head of what you want the puppy to be. That blocks all of your effective decision making. If instead you let yourself wonder for a sec, wait a sec. Why is he doing that thing that looks crazy to me? If you let yourself wonder why they're doing that, that's where your answer is going to be. And what I love is that you can sometimes see in the parents, you can just sometimes see that extending to even how they view each other. So, I mean,
Right.
it's just,
Like, it's not that your partner. Okay, so this morning, this is a real life thing. So there's been a ton of stress in this house. Christopher is trying to get a new business opened, and you know what that's like. right? I'm doing what I do, which is often exhausting, but I love it, right? So it's a labor of love. I have not touched a sewing machine in 7 days. I am nearly apoplectic, right? Um, and this morning, preparing to sit down to record the podcast, I go out to get a cup of coffee and the coffee pot's empty. And
Oh,
Chris casually says to me, "We're out of coffee." And I was like, "Okay, do the deep breathing. Like, we're not going to lose our zen before 9 a.m." And I was like, "Okay, this is a conversation for later. And
right.
it's a different
And
plan because
the way
I'm going to say my pre-coffee answer."
right. Right,
And
right, right.
and it'll be fascinating to see if there's a version of me without coffee because there isn't any. So, yeah. So there's a little bit of what can I learn from this experience? Push down the blind rage
Right,
of how did this happen? Right. And just go, like, why didn't you tell me that you were
right,
opening the last bag of coffee?
right.
It'll be a conversation for later.
Right, and to put it into the puppy context, the dog context, the first thought you wanna have is, you look at him reporting that without just going and solving the issue. Your first thought is, "That's terrible, and I'm filled with rage, and, that was a stupid thing to do." But what I'm trying to coax people to think about in the dog context is, wait, why did he do that? So maybe he had a Zoom at, 9:01 and he got a call from a client at 8:25 that he didn't anticipate. So then he really only had 1 second, but he had to prep for the so we don't have the whole picture. And the thing
Right.
is, that is relevant for puppies as well, as you don't have the whole picture. So when you see them peeing or chewing the thing or ruining your new shoes and, playing with the leash on your walk,
Being
rather than
stubborn.
it's very easy. We are so busy and we have so much going on. It's easy for us. We've made this tiny little space for the puppy in our bandwidth that we have this tiny little space. It's very easiest for us to be like, oh, and just get mad
Yeah.
at why it's not going the way it's supposed to. But I promise the
But there
fastest
isn't
way.
really a supposed to.
Well, right. I mean, the problem is that we have this vision in the head of how it's supposed to go, and it's just not gonna go that way, and it's gonna and the more you open yourself up to, "Wait, why did that happen?" The more you're gonna get to that original vision you actually had, because if you will understand the puppies need to chew, or the puppies need to, at first, go outside every half an hour to pee, the puppies need to do normal canine activities like digging, and once you start to provide that, once you anticipate that, suddenly the puppy actually starts looking the way you wanted, which was because he got all those natural needs, those itches got scratched because you provided him with a play date and a spot in your yard to dig and something good to chew. Suddenly, you know what he's doing? He's lying at your feet, which was just what you pictured when you decided to get a puppy. And so, letting go of the shoulds, letting go of the vision of how you insisted it was gonna happen, and opening yourself up to who this puppy really is. Not only is it nicer and kinder, more joyful, more relaxing, but it actually gets you to the original vision you wanted. So that's my goal in life.
Right. So I love, like okay. So my goal was to read your book before the podcast. I
The
didn't get
the
that
puppy book,
accomplished.
the Welcoming
The,
Your
pu-
Puppy from
the
Planet Dog,
Welcoming Your
that one,
Puppy
yeah.
book. So, because that's what we're talking primarily about today. Um, and it was my sincere goal. Like, I'm just going to knock this out. Like, it's an easy read. I love it. I've used up 2 highlighters.
Stop.
Like the whole book should just be written in orange, right? So because well, okay, one, not that I'm still a human, like I'm still a jerk face in my own way. So I'm like, I was right about that. Kathy
Yes.
agrees with me, right?
Right.
Because I mean, primarily my business is catching people ideally at puppies
Yes.
and helping them get to an adult dog,
Yeah.
right? Um, and sometimes that means going, hold up, right? I love that you said, because I say this all the time on the down low whispering, put that puppy in bed with you.
Totally.
Put that puppy in bed with you.
Totally.
Do your crate training during the day
Yep.
You're not going to end up with an adult dog that demands to sleep in the bed every day.
Nope.
You're not. They're not going to pee and poop in the bed.
Nope.
They're not. I've done it with nearly every puppy I have ever raised. It has
Me too.
never, ever, ever resulted in somebody eliminating in my bed.
Yep. Me too.
Never.
So this is the thing. My advice is to do that if you want to. Like, I still have a lot of clients who
Or like,
still
no.
not going to do that. But what I want to do is free you to do that if you want to do that. Because a lot of people feel that there's this rule that it would be terrible, terrible. And that all they want to do is pull the puppy in bed with them because the puppy's obviously lonely, obviously sad, obviously shocked to be sleeping alone. If your heart is like, dude, I'm just going to put you in bed with me, I want to free you to do that. I'm not going to insist. I've met enough clients where
Yeah. I mean, I
actually
don't
the
insist,
husband
but
who's
I'm
like,
like, it's
yeah.
totally okay.
Yeah, just it's totally fine. And I think it gets you in better places faster. I think that, one of the number one lessons, it used to be when you go to, puppy training classes, the first thing you have to teach the dog is sit and heel and stay. No, the first thing you have to teach your puppy is you are safe here with me. I am your rock. And the faster you teach that, the more everything else is super easy because your puppy can relax into following you instead of spinning all the time. Like, wait, what's that? Oh, what's that? Wait, I've never seen that before. What's that? If you have established that you really are the rock for your puppy can trust you, then your puppy can settle in all these different circumstances that initially feel weird to them. They can settle into it because they're like, well, mom's here though, and she always, she never leads me astray, so I guess we're good. So I think the sleeping together gets you faster into that spot of safety. I do think it's critical that you are teaching crate training and alone training during the day, because if you let your puppy be attached and touching you 24/7, obviously we're setting up trouble.
Right.
So if you're going to do that wonderful nighttime bonding, breathing in each other, touching each other all the time, which I personally think is lovely, and happily my husband loves it too. In fact, Tom loves it too much because we'll be like babysitting somebody's puppy, and he'll be like, "Oh, come on, let him come in the bed." And I'm like, "No, the husband at home doesn't allow that." And I'm like, and I do not do it if the client doesn't do that. But
Right.
Tom and I both think it's the most natural thing in the world. There's nothing better than the 3 a.m., little puppy sneaking up onto your pillow. Anyway, it's not for everyone, but I think if you allow that, especially that first 2 weeks where that puppy is still just reeling from having been kidnapped from Planet Dog, from having been kidnapped from his litter mates. If you give him something that feels like that litter sensation of warm, breathing in each other, always touching each other, that gets them more quickly to that place where you become their safety. And that just sets you up for success.
So, in my experience, we all get better sleep. All of our stress is lower.
Yes.
Now I'm getting those cuddles that I can hold on to when the Velociraptor stage of the
Yes.
day hits, because I go, oh, but I just love him so much. So if you're not going to co-sleep with the puppy for a couple of weeks, snuggle puppy.
Yeah. Yes.
Huge help. You can
Loves.
still lower your puppy's cortisol. You can still help them feel safer. Pheromone. And
for people who don't know what Snuggle
Puppy.
Puppy is, it's a product you can buy. It's like, I think it's what, $28 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a little stuffed dog that has a little heartbeat and has a little warm something
They have
in
like
it.
a hand warmer that's non-toxic
Yeah.
inside.
And so you stick that into, if you're going to be crating your puppy, stick that in the crate of the puppy. Ooh, can work magic for some dogs. They don't need it for long. This is the thing. It's kind of a short-term product. They might start to love it, but they really need it just for, frankly, those first weeks where they're getting used to sleeping alone.
Well, and interestingly enough, I've seen senior dogs
Oh,
who love a snuggle puppy.
no kidding.
And then I've also seen, I now have some clients, like I do a little bit of boarding where they're living with our family while their
Yep.
family's in France, right?
Right.
I have adult dogs who come with their snuggle puppy because that's their sleeping buddy. And you
Interesting.
don't have to turn the heartbeat on
Yeah.
anymore, and you don't have to warm it up anymore.
Right.
But they destroy every other stuffed animal they have, but not their friend.
But that's their
Their
friend.
snuggle puppy is
Yeah.
their friend. And sometimes it gets a little bedraggled and it's still
Sure.
okay. They still drag around. It's kind of like, I don't know, the teddy bear you had when you were a kid.
Yep.
That's what it becomes
Yep.
like their
Yep.
emotional support snuggle puppy.
Yep.
There is also a snuggle kitten. They don't care. They just love something that makes them
A warm
happy, and it
thing. Yeah.
takes great like, you can do amazing photos because it's adorable.
No, totally.
Right. So,
Totally.
in a perfect world, you and I would each get to influence people when they're thinking about a puppy, right? So that we can help make all of that more magic and less messy.
Mhm.
But a lot of times we're getting the call after a family already is like, "This is a nightmare. My
This was
kids I got the puppy for the kids hate the puppy, they don't wanna be blah, blah, blah,
yeah.
blah, blah." So let's
Yes.
triage that for them and love them
Yes. So let's talk about that. So that is a very typical call for me to get is the parent calling almost in a whisper. You picture them in a closet saying,
with a glass of wine
with a glass of wine, and
and a
they're like,
potato chip.
"Oh my god, I think this was a mistake." And it's a terrible feeling. They had all these visions. This is a beautiful thing they were doing for their family. It was going to be all kumbaya, and we weren't going to be on screens anymore. And now we're going to be all cuddled up together, watching our darling puppy. And he's going to be curled up in my 4-year-old's lap, sleeping. And instead, what is happening is the kids are screaming, "I hate the puppy. He's biting me." And the parents are arguing about whose job it is to take him out. And there's pee on the floor again, and somebody's shoes are chewed and all that stuff. So all that couldn't be, that sounds like a nightmare scenario. What it is, in fact, is the most typical scenario of what it is like with a puppy, because most people don't understand how to set up for the puppy. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be this way. And this is what just kills me is none of this had to happen.
It's just making
Um,
me so sad for everybody. I'm like, "Come here. Come here. You don't know me, but you're getting a hug."
First of all, let me tell you that, like, you are normal. You aren't a bad dog owner, and your
Right,
puppy is normal. It's not a bad puppy. You didn't get
right.
a lemon. This is all normal. It's just this is a human planet dog problem, is that you have brought this puppy, you've kidnapped this puppy from his family, not to make you too sad. But I do tell people that because the key is to get people to view the puppy with empathy, because at this very moment, they are angry at the puppy. And we want to switch that mindset to one of empathy, because that becomes your training tool. Once you really start to see and understand the puppy for what he's really experiencing, suddenly ideas abound. Suddenly you realize, oh, wait, duh, why did I set it up this way? So I do talk about how this puppy didn't pick this like you've been excited about having a puppy. The puppy was not sitting there chewing, wrestling, jumping, digging with his friends, imagining that one day when a human family would come and take him and stick him in their kitchen, put him in a crate, tell him not to do anything fun. Like, that was not what the puppy was thinking. So
Or
the
anything he
fact
knows how to do. He doesn't know
anything he
how to
knows
do those other things.
he doesn't know any of the human things, and you are shocked that he doesn't know to tap you on the shoulder when he has to pee, or that it's okay to chew on this bone but not the remote control. Why not? The remote control is crunchy and and it smells like humans. It's kind of fun. Like, they don't know that stuff. And so I kind of just try to start with that shock treatment a little bit, because once people are a little bit more open with empathy, like, oh, right, I guess the puppy's a little sad and lonely, then you can start showing them how to set up a world of yes for their puppy. So this is the real thing. Environment can be the way you set up the puppy's environment can be the thing that decreases almost all the stress in your household. And
Or
so,
it can create all
yes.
of the stress.
Oh, so what I tell folks to do is to set up a puppy apartment. What I find is that people generally tend to set up an area that's too small or too big for their puppy. They either put their puppy in a little pen where the humans don't fit, and the humans have to go visit the puppy, and then they get sort of tired of after day 3. They're like, I don't want to sit in the pen with the puppy, so they end up taking the puppy out, and then now we've got too big of an area. Now we've got the whole house. We're scampering around. It's not puppy proofed. We're pooping and peeing everywhere. The ideal scenario is to make your home smaller for a month, maybe 6 weeks, where this is the real potty training time, the real chewing time. This is where you're getting to know each other. You're all gonna kinda try to live a little bit in this space together. For me, what works is I do my kitchen, and my mudroom. My kitchen and my mudroom together are gated off. They're big enough the whole family can kinda be sitting there. We can be cooking, like, if a typical family, like, if you've got little kids, you did that, you can be in there cooking, you can be in there eating, kids can be doing homework, blah, blah, blah. But the key is it's got access to the outside too, so for potty training. So it's very easy for you guys to be hanging together and then going outside to potty every 30 minutes until it doesn't have to be every 30 minutes, but, like, it's gonna be every 30 minutes for a while, um, unless the dog is sleeping. We don't wake up the puppy to go peeing. Um,
Right.
and the reason I like this setup so much is that if you are used to hanging out with a puppy and the puppy's hanging out with you, the puppy learns to settle around you. What happens if you're keeping the puppy in his own room, if you've put him in a little pen or a little mud room, and then you just take him out to play, he starts to be high arousal starts to be his mode around humans all the time because it's always very exciting when he finally has access to you. That's not what you want with your dog. And so if you create a good puppy apartment where there's room for humans and the puppy for a while, yes, there's also a crate in there for when you need to do more separation and stuff. And you will step out of the puppy apartment sometimes. But there's going to be a heck of a lot of time where you and the puppy are all walking around there, moving around, settling, not settling in the puppy apartment. The puppy gets used to how to hang out with people. And it becomes potty training is easier because that's really his home. So that you start to use, potty training. If you puppies have a denning instinct, so they even 3-week-old puppies. When I have a foster little, so we have had 250 foster puppies in our house, and I take in the moms and the litters, and at 3 weeks, when they're barely moving, they will pull their little bodies off the bed to pee and then turn around and get back onto their bed. That is the most natural thing in the world, and it only gets messed up when we humans mess it up. So, if you give your dog an ability to understand this is where you live, and then give them a clear access to a place whereas it's not where they live, but where they pee, and if you get them out there often enough, potty training becomes really natural because it's working with his natural instincts as well. Anyway, so setup. The setup is key. You get yourself a nice puppy apartment. You're using gates and crates and your family's natural inclinations, and you're going to learn a lot of good things. And that it's puppy proofed, and there's all sorts of things for the puppy to chew on, and nothing that the puppy shouldn't chew on. So the puppy's experiencing a world of yes. One of the things when I got my first puppy as an adult, I was like 30, and I didn't know anything. And all of the when I was thinking about what to name the puppy, Domino was on the list. And everything you'd read back then is never choose a name that ends in no, because you're going to be saying no so much that you don't want the name to be no. And I took that to heart, and I was like, oh, that's really smart. Now that advice makes me so sad. You should not be saying no to your puppy all the time. If you are saying no, it's because you're screwing up. Like, there's just no other way to look at this. Like, the puppy is a baby. The puppy isn't messing up. There's no reason for you to be saying no. It's your job to set him up so that he does yeses.
Right. And I will also say, like, as another component piece of all of this, your kids are watching.
Mm-hmm.
Your grandkids are watching. And so you and I talked about this a little bit. I really want this to be the last generation that thinks self-care is selfish and optional, and that empathy and consent are optional,
Yeah.
because we're getting it. Yay. We're finally getting it in parenting, where we're realizing, like, okay, instead of your child is behaving badly at you, they're behaving in a way because they're frustrated. They're dysregulated, right?
Yep.
The same thing is true for us. I almost melted down 20 minutes before this call. And I just took deep breaths and said, you know what? This is a conversation for later. It's not an emergency.
Right.
And and it'll be okay. It's not going to wreck my whole day, right? It's not going to wreck every podcast I record today. And then in addition, me blowing my top isn't good for me, right? So
Right.
as parents, as grandparents, we can, and I do think that there's a magic of grandparenting. We're not in the thick of it every day. So I can understand someone saying, like, listen, old lady, you don't understand what it's like in my life right now. And to a certain extent, I don't.
Yeah.
But I do have the wisdom of raising foster children, of raising many, 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 many dogs, and hopefully blessing lots of families to make it all better. So it starts with, like, how are you in your body right now? Because if you're a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I've blown the top of my skull off with
Right.
stress, then guess what? The only thing you have to give your family is a 7. Your kids can be a 7. Your puppy's gonna be a 7. Your adult dog's gonna be a 7. Your spouse is gonna be a 7 or more.
Yeah.
So
And
it's like all of that arousal has to come down.
yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's right. And I think often the addition of a puppy does put people in a very stressful state.
Yeah.
And then the kids feel that, and there's not a lot of good modeling happening there. So, and the thing is, the key to all this is anticipation. So if you have the expectation, okay, this is going to be a chaotic time for us. A bunch of stuff is going to have to go on the back burner. We can't do everything the way we used to because we've got the puppy. And I think people have a natural expectation about that when they have a new baby. They know that life for a while is going to be, there's going to be much more happening at home, and we're not going to do so many social engagements, and let's minimize the to-do list, and we're not going to cook fancy dinners. Like, everybody makes that alters their home that way when they have a baby. Guess what? Same thing for puppies, and it works beautifully. And one of the things that that always happens for me anyway is, so you're going to rearrange your burners. You're going to put some different things on the front burner. And what I find is I then stick with that burner rearrangement, because I learn that the things that I've put on the front burner now, which is time at home, hanging out, low expectation, sit
Cuddle.
around, see what family member cuddles, see what, walks in the woods, a little more outdoor time. All that stuff is so much more rewarding and good for our life that we stick with that rearrangement of the burners. But if that's not you, that's okay. And but for a happy puppyhood that does keep you from being too stressed to do a good job with a puppy, or to model good stuff for your kids, or to get along with your spouse,
Or even to get
for
along with
for yourself,
yourself.
to feel okay in the world. You let some things go. You're gonna rearrange the burners, and it's gonna be the best thing for everybody. And that's about anticipation. The thing about puppyhood is it's all 24/7 and immediate. And so you need to carve out the time. And I always suggest people do this at night, before the next day, so that their next day just doesn't start with them being behind the 8 ball. Um, Sit around at night and think about, okay, what's the puppy's day going to be like tomorrow? Like, what are our difficult times? Typically, if you are a family with kids, with young kids, that's going to be getting ready for school and getting out the door while balancing the needs of this puppy who was just asleep all night and now is ready to engage. um, and then it's possibly also going to be right after school when puppy is super excited to see all those kids. And then it's going to be dinner. How are you making dinner, having homework happen? That's often when there's a lot of pee on the floor from the puppy because there's a diffusion of responsibility and all that. So this isn't not rocket science. Like, this is what's so funny. My whole job, like, it's not rocket science. But
Science, it's not rocket science.
no, right. So the night before, think it through. Spend 5 minutes thinking through, wait a sec, how are we going to handle preschool? How are we going to handle who's going to do what? Can we do a play date before the kids get home from school with the neighbor puppy so that our puppy's kind of taking the edge off a little bit, is a little calmer. Let's make sure we have a frozen topple ready for the puppy for when the kids come in the door at 3, so that the puppy's in the puppy apartment. We hand over the topple the second the kids come rushing in. Kids have a chance to take off their backpacks, tell us about our day and stuff. Puppy finishes the topple. Now it's time to engage. And now is when it's good learning for everybody, because everybody's a little bit settled. The kids have come home from school. We've had the initial chat. The puppy's had the topple. Now it's time to engage. What does that mean? And the most important thing you can teach families with young kids, or just honestly anyone, when you've got a bitey, jumpy puppy, that's the big, complaint from folks. The puppy is trying to engage with you. The puppy is playing the puppy game. This is what puppies do to engage with their beloveds. So you can take it as a compliment when they're jumping and biting on you. And that's what I tell the kids who are feeling sad, like their puppy's mean. I try to help them understand your puppy's picking your puppy is picking you as a favorite. And that's the puppy game. Our job is to teach them how we show our love for each other and how do we play with each other here on planet human. Because we don't want to play that way. We don't want those teeth on our skin, and we don't want those claws on ourselves. So what do? It's our job to teach them. So the best thing is to start playing Find It. Well, the puppy's in the puppy apartment. The kids are outside that gate. The kids, even 2-year-olds, can do this. The kids, you keep some kibble, always ready, always ready.
Always.
So that the kids need to be armed. And frankly, I feel naked if I don't have something to throw. If a puppy's come running at me and I know they're going to bite me and jump on me, shoot. If I do not have kibble in my pocket, I'm like, spaghetti-o. So,
I'm going to get nailed.
Yes. And so
there's my punishment.
There it is. So you got to play Find It. So the kid tosses a piece of kibble over that gate and says, "Find it." And the puppy, hopefully you have taught the puppy how to play this, so the puppy knows what the word "find it" means. The puppy's like, "Oh, cool. You know how to play that." Spins around, grabs the treat, turns back around with this great look on his face like, "What?" And now he is not thinking about biting and jumping. He's staring at the kid like, "Wait, what? You know that game?" Then the kid sends another one, "Find it." He spins around, he gets it, he comes back. This time he sits because he knows this game, and it's like, whoa, I like this. I can engage this way. Now you're off to the races. Now even a 3-year-old can start asking for a touch, put a little hand out and say, "Touch." The puppy touches. Now that you play that for a little while, find it, touch, sit, spin. You as the adult can teach these things, then the kids can play them over the gate. Now that you've done this for maybe 3 minutes with the kids, now you can open that gate and the kids can go in without being mauled, because they can keep throwing a piece of kibble on the floor and the puppy scrambles after it. And the puppy's arousal is lower because they've begun to engage with each other. And so that's all they want. They want engagement. You gotta help teach them how to engage.
Well, and also like the sniffing and finding, there's dopamine there. You're cooling off the brain because they're using their noses. You're really lowering their stress, lowering their prey drive, helping them to go, "Oh, this feels great." Right. Absolutely. So I often say puppies dogs show us what enrichment they crave, right?
Yeah.
What activities they crave. Just like our kids. If I have a kid who's tapping everything all the time, like we're getting a drum kit, and it doesn't matter if I want a drum kit or not.
Right.
This is like, at least I can, like, maybe they'll make $1 zillion and buy me a big house. I don't know. Right. Like, but I'm going to, if my child is twirling around the house, doing cartwheels in the living room, we need cheer, or we need dancing gymnastics.
Yep.
Right. Or maybe martial arts. I mean, honestly, that's all the same thing too. I like a girl to know how to take care of herself, right? Yeah. And so instead of no, stop that.
Yes.
Put up the basketball hoop outside so that they're not bouncing the ball in the house and, shooting at your lampshades. So there's a lot of, but I do think that to a certain extent, this is like an old lady lens, because we've watched it. We've done it really badly in the past. We didn't know any better. And we're like, wait, it can be it can be awesome.
No, learn from us. We've made all
Right?
the mistakes.
I
Right.
have scars, y'all. Like,
Sure. Sure, you bet. But I think that's such an important point that the puppy will show you what the puppy needs. And so the puppy is coming to you from Planet Dog, is going to be doing some natural Planet Dog things. What are those things? If your puppy is constantly digging at corners, digging in the carpet, digging in your couch, oh, let's go in the backyard and create a digging spot for that puppy. And
or use a
obviously,
ball pit.
or use a ball pit.
Like,
Yes, use the pit. Yes,
drop kibble in a ball pit
totally, totally do that.
and
And
let them dig. They'll have a great time.
they'll have a great time. You will get a lot of laughs
Yeah.
seeing how much they're enjoying it. Everyone's stress is going to get lowered. Then the puppy is going to come and cuddle up with you. And this is one of the things.
And you can do it in the bathtub. You can do it with water with balls in the bathtub. Like, you can do
Yeah,
all this amazing. We're going to prepare you for baths. We're going to teach you how to use your nose. We're going to do all these things. And and you know what? If they pee in the bathtub, guess what? You peed in the bathtub
no,
too.
it's fine.
Don't tell
No,
me you
no.
didn't. And we're going to rinse it off in the bathtub. Like,
Yeah,
your kids will enjoy taking a bath with all the silly balls in there.
that's right.
Like, it's it's such a precious time,
It is such a precious time.
and
And
it's short.
that's the thing, is that, and it just put the stuff on the back burner. Understand that you're going to, if it sounds like that's a lot for you to set up, put some other things on the back burner and set up your little ball pit, because this is a precious, tiny, fleeting time. It's going to be gone before you know it. And the more you throw yourself into this, the more joyful it's going to be, the more huge memories you're going to have, the more bonded you will be, and the better your dog will be set up to thrive in your particular world the way you were envisioning from the start. So, and as you were talking about the how good the foraging is, the sniffing and stuff for the find it, teaching folks to play ping pong, Leslie McDevitt's ping pong, where you are sending your dog. This is something you can do when you are exhausted. You come home from work, you're sitting on the couch, and your
You
dog
could
is
be
all
nursing a
over you,
baby and do this.
nursing a baby, and you are sending kibble to the left and the right. It's called ping pong because you're sending your dog to the left and the right. It clicks every box for everything you want to teach this puppy. So you've got a little kibble, and you're sending a one to the right, and he runs off and he goes and he finds it. Now he's foraging, he's sniffing. It feels great to him. That is making him feel like such a dog. It's feeling wonderful. He spins around, turns back to you like, what the heck was that? Guess what you just taught him? You taught him to spin back to you. Every single time you're teaching a dog to come back to you and it's rewarding, you are setting yourself up for great things. So he comes back to you and he looks at you. Now, depending on what you've taught, you can ask for a sit. And the second he does it, you say yes, and you pitch that piece of kibble to the left now. He runs. He gets to do more foraging, more sniffing. He spins back. He comes to you. Once again, he's rewarded for returning to you. You're setting yourself up for a great recall. You're setting yourself up for him to come back when he escapes out the front door because the remodelers were there and you didn't really realize that you didn't
Somebody
understand.
opened the door.
So this time you can ask for a touch. Next time you can ask for a spin. You can ask for any number of things. As he returns to you, he does it. You say yes. You send him off to the other side. Now, once he really understands that game, you can pitch that piece of kibble 20 feet down the hallway if you want to. Now he's actually getting exercise. Now this is something you can do on a rainy day, on a snowy day, on a day when you broke your ankle, and this is all you can offer him. This one game wraps everything up into it.
Yes, and it teaches them. I get the mamas who are like, I just need the dog to be willing to go in the backyard and hang out by himself when my children need me. And I'm like, yes, the way you build that is ping pong. And then food scatters in the grass. Like, I transfer ping pong from inside to outside. It takes no time.
Yep.
When your puppy's like, oh, I love this. And if it's the old dog, great. Use that cheese balls. They're not going to eat so many that they're going to explode. Like, it's okay. Make it something easy to find in the grass to teach the game, right? Puzzles don't start with a 15,000 piece puzzle with itty bitty little pieces. It starts with 5 pieces and they're pretty big and they lock together only one way. So just think that way. We're
right.
building a letter and then a word and then a sentence and then a paragraph and then a chapter And before you know it, you got them whole book. So
Yep.
now you have a dog who, when your hair's on fire because somebody just vomited,
Yeah.
you can grab a handful of kibble, open the back door, throw it out into your fenced yard. Your dog will delight
Yep.
in
Yep.
that,
Yep. Yep. No, that's true.
and
You
you can
also
focus.
That's right. And you also, but you do have to teach them how to
Yes,
play that game. So they're
yes.
not automatically going to be able to do
So
that.
they're
And you
not clamoring at the door because they
at
never
the door.
see you.
You need to help them. So at first, when you play that game, you're still there with them. You're right next to them. So in the beginning, it's a scatter while you're right there. Then it's a scatter and you walk 20 feet away. Then it's a scatter and you walk inside for a sec, but you come back out. Then it's a scatter and you walk inside for a second, you come back out after a minute. You got to do all the stuff with baby steps. And the problem is because puppyhood is so intense and people aren't prepared for it to be intense, they want it to be perfect immediately, which just sets them up for a ton of frustration and then they're sad. And so
Well, they're missing that it already is perfect.
that's
It's
exactly right.
already
This is just,
perfect.
yes.
It's like parenting. We're just molding. That's all. You're
Yeah,
just
no,
recognizing what their needs are. You're meeting those needs, and then you're morphing them
right.
into something that works for the whole
That's
community.
it. You're meeting them where they are as a little puppy from Planet Dog. Slowly but surely, we teach them how to hang out as a puppy here in our world. But you got to meet them where they are first and then expect that it's going to be, he's a baby. He's got to learn these things slowly. You can't be in a rush. You got to go slow to go fast.
Right.
So,
And smooth. Like, that's what makes it not bumpy, is
yes.
slow and smooth is fast. It's fast.
No, yeah,
And
absolutely.
you're making it so, like those early months with kiddos, it's magic and it's really hard,
And it's really hard. Yeah. Yeah.
right? It's all the same things,
You're
only no
exhausted.
hyper
You're
and
exhausted and
heat.
your brain isn't clear to think through things. And
Right.
this is why like the night before, like get together with
Yeah.
your partner the night before the
Like,
day's
who's
over.
doing what? Like,
Who's
let's
doing what? Make your plan before you're overwhelmed because you are going to be overwhelmed. So if
and
you
before you know it, your kids are really, really gonna be able to help because there's a lot we can do with a 2 and a 3-year-old.
No, that's really right. And the thing is, the families with kids, those puppies are tireder because just being around kids with them running around, being chaotic, that's a lot for a puppy to absorb. It can be fantastic socialization for them because there are a lot of noises and there's trucks and all that stuff. Those puppies sometimes grow up bomb-proof because there's all that stuff happening, but it's a lot to oversee and it can be exhausting. And so if you just take the night before, get yourself together, think about, okay, when are we going to be eating what toy, do we have anything frozen in the freezer for this dog to have when we can't pay attention?
Right.
Do we have any play dates lined up? Who's going to do like a bunch of little training sessions, little 3-minute training sessions where
Mhm.
basically you're playing ping pong, but
You can do it on the toilet, people. I
you
love
c
you.
this
You can
is
do it on the
you
toilet.
you can, and I will sort of have people also plan a thing to teach through their day. Sometimes people are overwhelmed by the idea of training because it seems like it's gonna
Right.
be
I'm like, you're
super
just
hard.
teaching.
It's nothing, and so what I'll tell them is, so every time you go get a cup of coffee, teach a sit. Every time you go into the restroom and your puppy's following you, teach it down, or teach a stay right outside the bathroom floor, like that's a stay. And then anyway, you can, make your everyday life a signal, put treats right near there so that whenever you go get the mail, you're going to teach this and you're going to do, it's just a little reminder because those little things, your puppy is way smarter than you think and can learn so much more than you think. They're receptive, meaning what they can understand. Language capability is that of a toddler. And if you have ever been around a toddler, they
No,
understand
everything.
everything. And so
You can't pull one over on them twice.
you cannot there. And plus they're watching all day long. So they're so capable of learning so much. And you're going to be a lot happier when they learn stuff. So go ahead and teach it. So make sure that people always, I do, People will adopt a puppy and they've had him for a few weeks, and I come and I do a consult. They're like, we taught him to sit. And then they show me and they're so proud. And I'm like, that is so awesome. I don't really share with them that my 5-week-old puppies that I'm fostering already know sit, touch, and spin. Because
Right.
they
Or that the 7-week-old puppy is already basically house trained.
no, totally. It's just if you focus
If you
and if
know,
you
if you, so this is all from the benefit of raising litters, right?
yes, yes.
Getting that early development, understanding what you're seeing. My parents have been breeding and showing dogs since 1979.
Oh my gosh, what breed?
Well, they started in Doberman Pinschers.
Okay.
Um, then they got Dalmatians, and they had Dalmatians for 30 years, I think.
Oh my
And
god.
then my mom decided she wanted something she could whelp on a table. So she switched to Swedish Valhund. So, um, there's been, and we fostered lots of mixed breed puppies. Like I tell stories all the time about this litter was just about we had a female Dalmatian who loved being a mama.
Yeah.
And so she had a litter that was at about 5 weeks, like starting to eat solid food. She was still in great condition, and the local shelter got puppies that came in whose eyes were still closed.
Yep.
And so we said, absolutely. She's in milk. If she'll accept them, we'll raise them. And so we had 2 litters of puppies that were, maybe 3 weeks apart in age. The Dalmatian puppies were puppy, puppy, puppy. And the mixed breed puppies were chick, chick, chick. And if you wanted everybody, you went pup, chick. And then everybody came,
Hilarious.
right? So I had the benefit, the blessing
Yeah.
of that chaos in our house
Yeah.
and learning this can be way easier. Learning, oh, your puppy's just really tired.
Yes.
He's chewing on you because he needs something to suckle to go to sleep,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
We would give the baby a pacifier. We wouldn't tell them, no,
Right.
don't cry at me, right? Like we wouldn't do that. So understanding that this can just be just more magical. Which is, I don't know, I want more magic.
No, I think that's right. And I think you can't understate how much you learn by hanging out with a litter as they open those eyes and they start to hear and they start to learn stuff, because that is magic. And you learn how smart they are so fast. They are paying attention to
And
everything.
that they have opinions from the moment they're born,
No, that's right. And
just like human babies.
no, that's right. And that's what makes it so fun to sit back and watch them and see who they really are. Yes, you can shape them just like human babies. You can shape around the edges, but guess what? They also are who they are. And so you want to find out who they are, relish it, and then work around the edges to make it work within your life. But anyway, they're so much smarter than most people think. And the more you do those tiny training sessions that you think you're dreading and you think you don't really know how to do it, it's not that hard.
And it's fun.
It's fun. Just do a little sit, do a sit, touch, spin down teach them to go through your legs. It's hilarious. Those little things. And frankly, you don't even have to go much further than that. You just do those things and keep practicing those things and enjoy it and delight in how good they get at it. And then you can, so if you don't want to teach anything more than that, you can start to whisper the cues. Are they going to do it if you whisper? What if you're sitting on the ground? Do they still listen to you if you're sitting on the ground? What if your back is turned to them and you say the cue? Are they still listening? You can make those 5 first simple cues much harder if you're so inclined. And I think you should, because your puppy, if you're doing this every day, 3 minutes, 3 times a day, if you're doing this stuff, your puppy's going to learn it really well. And it's going to be really fun. And it's going to help your puppy feel engaged with you and connected to you. And it does tire them out a little. A little bit of brain work really will help to settle them. And then they're ready to snuggle on the couch with you. Oh, one other thing is what I was going to say about when you were talking about sleeping in bed with you. You get all that delicious snuggling. And then sometimes during the day, you don't get as much of that because they're out and about. And one of the things I see with houses with kids all the time is that when they have a bitey, jumpy puppy that the kids have not learned how to engage safely with the puppy doing training games and stuff, the kids will, every time the puppy does try to fall asleep, that's when the kids will go over and diddle with the puppy. And this is just, I bring this up every single time I possibly can because I absolutely understand that desire. And it's so important not to let that happen. Or at least the second the puppy indicates the puppy doesn't want that. First of all, if the puppy's in the crate, nope. The crate has to be a safe space completely. But if the puppy has fallen asleep on the floor, on a dog bed, on a couch, and the kids run over and that's when they want to cuddle with that puppy, I'm going to be watching like a hawk, and I'm going to let the kids sit next to the puppy, maybe put their hand on the puppy. But the second the puppy kind of raises his head like, oh crap, I don't want that, or tries to move away, that's the end. We are not going to do that then because
They're a
that's
little
how you,
overstimulated. Like they
that,
just
yes,
want you to settle.
this is how you get a puppy who ends up biting people who sit next to him on the couch is because he has not been respected. That happened to my brother's dog, ended up that way because they just couldn't learn the lesson of leaving the dog alone. And
Well,
so
right. I'm like that whole saying of let sleeping dogs lie.
it's for a reason. It's just disrespectful. If you have fallen asleep, do you want someone touching you?
Right. Right. And your
Anyway,
kids too. Like I get it. Like you see that sweet face
yep,
taking a nap and you're like, "Oh my God, my baby is so beautiful."
yep.
Don't touch.
Right. Now, if the puppy is so connected to you that the puppy has come over to you or your kid and fallen asleep in your lap, hooray for you. Have at it. Perfect. I'm talking about when the puppy has gone into a corner to have a little rest away from you and you follow into the
Yeah.
corner. That's a big no because again, the puppy needs agency and you want
And
to
you get
respect.
dysregulation.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
So thank you so much, Kathy. The hour went way too quickly.
oh, are we there already?
I
It did.
know. So thank you so much for making time for us today.
Thank you for having me. It's always a delight to talk to you, Tina.
And thank you for all of you, the listeners too, for spending your precious time with us today. We hope that this is a blessing to you and your family. That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for spending part of your precious day with us. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to follow, rate, subscribe so that you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you. Connect with us on social media or email us at yourfamilydogpodcast@gmail.com. We'll see you soon.